It's the largest intermediate school in Washington County. With a little more than 850 students, Lava Ridge serves teenagers in 6th and 7th grades in the small community of Santa Clara, Utah. But in 2013, tragedy struck. Not once, but twice, when two teenage girls took their own lives within 2 months.
It was February 23rd, 2013, a Sunday afternoon at home enjoying my family, when that dreaded phone call came through that one of our students had taken their own life. This was a new world for me. I didn't even know how to respond or what to do, but quickly gathered composure and called the school, the district crisis team, and we met together here at the school on a Sunday evening in preparation of what our next steps were in such a tragic time. This particular family did not want to disclose a lot of information, and so facts were very, very limited. We weathered the storm there, but it was just 2 months later in April when I received another phone call on a Sunday afternoon telling me that another student had taken their own life. You begin to self-evaluate and wonder, what could we do different? What's wrong? Is this going to happen again? Days became fear of what's next. Phone calls on Sunday afternoon, I just didn't even want to answer.
And though it was difficult to deal with the sorrow and pain of both tragedies, Gubler said they learned a lot and they never gave up.
The second incident, a young lady that took her life, this family wanted the information out there. They wanted the facts shared. They wanted people to know why and things that we could do to avoid or support or help students. And so that became our focus. What was so interesting in both situations was the way students and even the adults here healed. We found that the second tragedy, healing happened much faster and quicker because we could talk about it openly, whereas the first one, it was very isolated.
While both students were 13 years old, they didn't really know one another, nor did their parents, until after they took their own lives.
When the second tragedy happened, the first family of the girl that took her life, the first one that took her life, they actually opened up and we were able to discuss the facts and some of the things that led up to the event. And the tragedy of the first family situation began the healing process when we started the healing process with the second.
One more class period. Great day.
Since the double suicides in 2013, the school has changed its outlook in moving forward.
We really want to know what students are feeling, what they're thinking, what they are experiencing. Those are some of the things that we have implemented since 2013 and the suicides that we experienced here at our school.
The staff at Lava Ridge, as well as parents and students, are learning from the tragedies and how to prevent future ones. Each day, Principal Gubler checks the weather of the students as they pass by her in the hallways. Reading the weather on the faces of the students is a way to gauge their temperatures.
It's not uncommon to see our vice principal, our school resource officer at the bus, greeting every student that comes in from the bus every morning. Simply, we want to read the weather of students. I'm usually out in the commons area here by the front doors, reading the weather of the students that are dropped off, or walkers or bikers. We want to know what kind of a day we can expect from students. Also, teachers are out in the halls consistently between classes, reading the weather on the face of students. What kind of day are they having? Is this a repeated sadness phase? If it is, they alert the counselor. We are just trying to be so proactive as to what is going on in students' lives. It's not uncommon now for us to call a student into our office and say, I observe that you're really unhappy, your life seems really hard, would you like to talk about it? Whereas before we would observe it, but we really didn't do a lot about it. Since that has happened, we have what we call SOS students. I've asked every teacher to choose one student that they feel might have a hard life, whether it be academically, socially, emotionally, and they will actually without that student knowing it, befriend that student and have either a daily or multiple times throughout a week contact with that student individually, so that we again can read the weather of what's going on in that student's life.
Through the process, faculty and students have become bonded in daily checks.
My vice principal and myself, we meet with 4 to 5 students every morning before school starts. We set a daily goal with students. It not only enhances their behavior, but it builds a relationship with us. As I think about the school year coming to a close, there's some students that I just really feel bad that they have to go on for the next year because of the relationships that we have built with these students. But they were students that we felt needed us. But in turn, we're finding that we need these students also.
And families of the students are also now being included in the movement.
We have a pretty close relationship with families. If there's ever a concern, it's not wait to see what happens, it's a phone call immediately to families. We have what we call I-teams, interdisciplinary teams, where there's a math, language arts, and science teacher. They have the same common students, but what they do is every Monday for an hour and a half after school, we focus on those common students within that team. And so every Monday, those 150 students on that team are actually discussed. Even if they're a high achiever or a low achiever, we discuss students' emotional needs. So that happens for every student in our school every Monday.
They hope that through the process, other schools won't have to go through the same thing.
Since the suicides, we have had parent meetings on a yearly basis. We talk a lot about this age group of students that experiences such high anxiety. Here they are in puberty, emotions are running wild, and they don't know how to handle them. And so we do trainings with parents. We also meet with students. Every trimester, we meet with students and we talk about feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed, ways to handle it, key people that they can contact. We've also partnered with Southwest Behavior Health, who have been a truly wonderful support for our school. They come in weekly with a therapist, and those students that appear or seem most at risk will meet with those therapists. We also have met with Snow Canyon Middle School, who is the next school after Lava Ridge for these students to transit to, and we've gone through students and their needs and their successes and their failures and their worries, and have hopefully established a more secure footing the moment they enter into the middle school. On the other hand, we meet with the elementaries before the school year ever starts to know the needs of our incoming 6th graders. We want to be proactive. We want students to feel they have a place at Lava Ridge that is safe and that there are people here that genuinely care about them.